This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Thank you, David. Welcome, everyone, to DBL. It's Monday, August 16th. I'm Tori here with Jeff and Brandon. Grateful to have you all watching with us. Let's get started because all across the country, kids are heading back to school. For many of them, it has been 17 months since they last got on a school bus or walked down a hallway for in-person learning. And today, the debate continues about if kids should wear masks while they're in school. Here's what one Florida school board chairwoman had to say about her decision to go against Governor Ron DeSantis' ban on mask mandates.
We have lost two teachers and one ESP to COVID. Others are hospitalized. And we believe that we have a constitutional obligation to protect the lives of our students and staff.
Meantime, some kids are saying they'd prefer to stick to remote learning, not because of coronavirus, but because there is a lot less bullying that takes place in online classes. I'm going to go to the dad of the group and ask how you're feeling.
My kids are 2 and 4. They're very young. They are starting preschool this week on Wednesday. So my wife's actually at a parent-teacher conference right now with them. So that's sad. I have to miss some of those things. But they are headed back to school at that young age, 2 and 4. They do not have to wear masks. We have to wear masks when we drop them off and pick them up. The teachers wear masks full time. But every situation is different, especially as you get older. It gets a lot different. I don't know what to say about that. But I will go back to, what was the second part of that?
About what we were talking about?
About the bullying,
No.
the online learning.
Bullying.
Yes, I was paying attention. Thank you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
My mind.
Your mind
We started with one story. What were we talking about? The online bowling. Okay, so kids are afraid to go back to school because of online bowling. I think that's absurd. That's what I think.
Really?
I think it's absurd. Yes. We have this thing, and I've talked about it many times in the show, called snowplow parenting. And we want our kids, we want to snowplow a path for them not to have any inconveniences or learning experiences, as I like to call them, along the way. I'm not saying your kid needs to get bullied. I'm saying you have to put them in difficult situations for them to grow. When I went away to college, Brandon, my first year at college football, you have triples. It's a lot more mental. It's a lot more physical. I couldn't touch my knees after like the first 2 days. I called my mom, and I'm like, "Ma, I don't think I could do this. I think you got to come get me, or I got to get out of the situation." She said, "Jeff, you got to stick it out." My mom's the first woman in the world to say, "Come home, I'll cook you something to eat, stay home, don't worry about that." She's like, "You got to stick it out. You got to stick it out." And I'm the person I am because I did stick that out. And the experiences I've learned the next 4 years of my life, right? So there's situations you have to put your kids in, even though you don't want to, but they need to grow from.
But the only thing about that, Jeff, that's you at 18 years old. What about you at 8? You know,
It's the same thing, man. You have to let your kids go through. And when I say bullying, I'm not saying going and getting beat up. I'm not saying something that's going to make them go home and take their own lives. I'm talking about the tough times of kids pointing fingers, making fun of each other. Everyone goes through that. You go to camp, you go through rough times, awkward times. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I agree with it. I remember growing up, I had these fake felines called XJ900s. You know, remember how the felines had the strap in the back?
What's a feline?
Felines.
Fila. Oh, the sneakers.
Yeah,
Fila.
but I put the S on it plural because I had 2 of them. You know, so I used to get picked on all the time. Hey, you're wearing fake Filas. Hey, you're wearing fake Jordans. I get what you're saying, but if it's something to where this kid, and there's a history of a kid getting beaten up, or there's a kid with the history of people or people just piling on that kid, then yeah, I think that kid should stay home for a little bit longer, because bullying, it's only going to get worse as these kids come back into these classrooms and they haven't seen each other for a long time. But yes, being able to stick through it, that's how a Kevin Hart becomes a Kevin Hart. You know, that's how
anybody gets
through it. I agree with it.
To build as a person.
And I do agree with you. I went through terrible times, trust me. In Michigan, my mom was like, "You stick it out as well." But I will say this. There are 19,000 children right now in the U.S. that are hospitalized with COVID-19, and there are no pediatric ICU beds left in Dallas at all. So I get the bullying. You have to go through stuff. But do we have to go through COVID without masks is what I question, and what I want to know from our audience. If you're a parent, how do you feel about your kid going back without a mask mandate or with a mask mandate? Because I want to find out how you all feel.
Can I jump in really quick on that? Well, my sister-in-law, my nieces and nephews go to school in Virginia. The 3-year-old, she's 3-year-old, she's three and up, you have to wear a mask. She said she's been in daycare for 6 weeks now, come home with 2 colds. So if a cold is contagious, just think of COVID coming back into that household.
Interesting. All right. Well, millions of us have already gotten the COVID vaccine, but are you ready for a booster? Well, officials are reportedly developing a plan to start offering booster shots as early as this fall. So here's what Dr. Fauci had to say about it.
They may need ultimately to get an additional shot. Right now, we're not saying they do, but literally, Nancy, we're looking at on a daily and weekly basis in cohorts not only in the United States, but in other countries to determine if, when, and to whom we should be giving this.
All right, so let me give you a little bit of facts. The first boosters are probably going to go to nursing homes and healthcare workers, right? Then older Americans, as we sort of did the layout. Israel, just so you know, is already giving booster shots. They've moved on to people over 60 already. So we're kind of following in their lead. And we want to know is, do you take, if you've taken Pfizer, do you then take Moderna? You know what I mean? Do you switch to get the most immune compromised or immune system to get boosted up? Which one do you take? So that's the three things we're sort of discussing. What do you think about boosters?
I'm in for it.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Yeah, no
Give
problem.
it to me. But I don't know. There's a lot of, you put a lot of questions on the table. I don't know what's better. If I got Pfizer, do I get another booster of Pfizer, or does it mess with my system if I get Moderna? There's a lot more questions out there that I would like answers to.
Of course,
right?
and I'm sure the CDC will let us know.
No, get away from me. I've took both of my Pfizer shots. I wear my mask. I don't complain. I'm compliant. But no, do not come to me with another shot, booster shot, because I feel like this is just going to divide us even more. Because remember back when there were a couple of discrepancies within the J&J shot. Look what that did to the confidence of people getting people getting inoculated, our entire community getting inoculated. I feel as though if there's another booster shot out there, there's just going to be a new variant, because what do? The variants, they adapt. So it's going to adapt to a booster shot as well. And we're just going to continue to go down that out.
I love you and I trust you, but I would rather listen to a doctor than you.
No, absolutely.
Because of your feelings of a booster. I think that's really dangerous. And I think that if Dr. Fauci and the CDC is saying we get a booster to help with immune systems because they mutate, I'd rather listen to the actual people that know what they're doing than anybody else, because other than that, you're rejecting data.
But I'm not immune compromised. I'm also not over 60 as well. So I got the shots, and I feel good. I get tested all the time through the New York Giants. Cool. But this is me. This is my choice. This is my choice for my body. Other people, you do what you feel.
But we get a flu shot each year, and that vaccination changes year to year depending on what the flu was like the previous season. I think the booster shot is just going to change, like the Delta variants out there, to protect us from whatever's out there. And the virus doesn't mutate itself with the people who are vaccinated. It mutates with people who are unvaccinated because they need hosts to get stronger from. So the more people that are unvaccinated and it gets a chance to mutate, the stronger it gets. It's not the other way around.
I've never gotten a flu shot either.
Oh,
all right. Never gotten the flu.
A lot of people are like that too, yeah.
Well, right into Brandon. No good. Coming up on DBL, a woman reveals how she escaped a child sex cult, how she was able to regain a normal life after years of trauma. And Johnny Depp says he's being boycotted by Hollywood. Is his acting career really over?
Closed captioning provided by
Nation, what's going on? We are live at the break. We are talking, the conversation continues to flow. We're getting briefed, and we're kind of talking a little bit more on the bullying, the kids wanting to stay during online learning because of the bullying, or because, and we're talking about the COVID. My sister-in-law actually wrote me. I wanted to make sure I got her in there. I have three young nieces and nephews. She thinks it's a great idea that they're still have to have masks in Virginia. Schools have germs regardless of COVID, and the little time that they were in school last year, none of my children got a single cold. She says since Kaya, my youngest niece, she's 3, has been in daycare the 6 weeks, she's gotten 2 colds. So a lot of people, that kind of plays into that narrative or plays into that part of you guys are.
It's up the number one. Sorry. Okay, we're having no, that's fine. We're having a little debate to say if I was sticking up for bowling, and I definitely was not sticking up for bowling. What I was saying was, if there's a little goofing around back and forth, I actually specifically said, if it's talking about killing yourself or something, I'm not for that. So don't think I'm for bowling. Yeah. And if you're going to stay home, teenage women, or young girls, I should say, their numbers are through the roof of suicide just from online bowling. So you're not going to protect your daughter from staying home, even if she's getting bullied at school or online. odds are, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But
and it's
if
hard
you
when
think that I was supporting bullying in any way, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's hard when you're speaking it on, like, it's such a, like, painting like a broad picture for everything and all. But I'm glad you clarified that, because it's like you say something, people get jumped on online like that. So I like you said, if it's something where you're
I thought I
getting
did,
teased,
because I said I'm not
you
talking
need to
about
be back
killing
in
yourself.
school. But anything where it's to the degree of someone's having suicidal thoughts, then absolutely they should stay home. But please write us in. We got more DBL coming up.
15.
Welcome back to DBL. Johnny Depp is speaking out for the first time since losing his libel case. Last year, Johnny lost the high-profile case against a UK newspaper that called him, quote, a wife beater, in a story about him and his then wife, Amber Heard. Johnny recently spoke to the Sunday Times to promote his new movie, which is only being released in the UK and not in the US. Johnny said it's all because of a Hollywood boycott of him because of his ongoing legal issues. He added that this particular arena of his life has become so absurd. So let's just take a second and say one thing straight out that we all agree. We don't know everything about this situation. No. There's a lot below the surface here of Amber Heard and what she did, of Johnny Depp and what he did. There's some video. There's also a Washington Post article that he sued her for, claiming she was abused. So before we start with this, the facts are fuzzy. Do you agree?
Yep.
Yes.
But there's one fact, and we're seeing this. If you have any sort of violence against a woman, whether it's sexual, whether it's physical, you're going to be canceled in the United States.
But
and
we
that's
don't have
what he's
any idea that he has been.
Court of public opinion.
But he hasn't been charged or convicted. I want to make that very clear.
Court of public opinion. We are talking about it. This is why he is in the news right now. The Me Too movement is still hot. Cancel culture is still hot. He is going to have to handle that defamation case, and he's going to have to come out on top just to be able to start a comeback here in the United States. That's just how I feel about it.
I agree with Brandon. And to put in another caveat, because we have to put caveats on everything, we don't support women getting beat up.
No,
okay?
absolutely
we don't support
not. No.
School bullying either, okay? So if you have to clarify every single story and you can't digest what we're talking about when we don't support one thing or the other, that's on you. That's not on us talking about cancel culture.
I hear you. Is there anything because Johnny Depp is so Johnny Depp that he would never get canceled? Is he so cool, I mean that he might not get canceled? Does that make sense?
Well, he already was canceled. He was wiped out of that new movie that he just filmed.
Yeah,
they wiped him completely out.
Yep,
even though the Fantastic Beasts or something, they wiped him out of the movie.
So
and he wasn't in the American courts. He was never convicted of anything.
Or charged.
But the court of public opinion already canceled him, and that's what we're talking about when we talk about cancel culture, right? I hate that huge corporations, huge motion picture companies, even smaller networks, smaller businesses, they're canceling people based on the court of public opinion, not based on what they did or one little sentence that they've mistaken 10 years ago. These crazy people online, 10% of the people produce 90% of the content on social media. That's a fact, okay? And businesses, corporations, the world leaders are taking those 90% and using them to adjust how they run their business. And that's where I have a huge problem with it.
You know where we need to be? I hope we get to a point where it's like a debit card, credit card. You're on temporary hold before you're actually canceled. You know? No? You guys didn't like that?
Good luck with that.
Coming up on DBL, a woman talks about life since escaping a child sex cult, the horrific abuse she went through, and how she was able to rise above towards a better life. Bless you.
Now that booster shots are approved for some patients, will there be enough of the COVID vaccine to go around? Let's connect the dots. The short answer for Americans is yes. Earlier this summer, the government ordered 400 million vaccine doses, half Pfizer, half Moderna. Officials say that order is enough to cover boosters for everyone, not just the immunocompromised. There should also be enough doses to go around in case the FDA authorizes the vaccine for kids under 12. But not every country has the same access to the vaccine. The World Health Organization is asking for countries to put the brakes on boosters until the end of September. It wants every country to get at least 10% of their population vaccinated before we talk about a third dose. Doctors are concerned if some countries are left unvaccinated, the virus could spread unchecked and create an even more dangerous variant. The White House says it's trying to help. So far, the U.S. has donated 110 million doses of the vaccine across more than 60 countries. Other wealthy countries like Great Britain have pledged to make similar donations. They're also donating money for staff and logistics to actually get those shots into arms. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back to DBL. All cults have one thing in common: followers who were deceived. Earlier, we spoke with a brave mother who learned the truth about children of God and decided to break free from the following.
Christina Babin was just a baby when her mother joined Children of God.
Some of my earliest memories of being in the cult were very nice. People singing and dancing around campfires, hugging and kissing, but that was very short-lived and very rare.
It was the 1970s, and followers were being promised purpose, but that lie quickly unraveled.
Our parents were taught, as well as us, that they were not our parents, that the cult was our parent. To show love in an individual way and in a special way to your children was frowned on.
Instead of bedtime stories, Christina was told horrific tales about the world ending.
You were constantly on guard. You never felt safe.
The cult's founder, David Berg, told members that God was love and love was sex, regardless of age or consent.
We had this concept that females especially were here to serve men sexually.
Christina first experienced sexual abuse at age 12.
The founder had this divine idea from God that women should be prostitutes to the outside world, to bring in men, to give us financial stability.
At age 21, Christina breaks free from the following.
It took years for me to be able to accept the concept that I could live in the outside world.
Today, Children of God is rebranded, with two of the cult's top leaders operating under the name The Family International.
The top leadership, Karen Zerbe and Sarah Kelly, who are the ones who instigated and promoted all of the abuse that I endured as a child, are still free. It's very concerning to me that the FBI and the CIA are not finding them and holding them accountable.
Christina, thank you so much for joining us and for speaking out on behalf of cult survivors. What are some of your earliest memories of being in a cult?
We used to sing and dance and play music around campfires, and we all hugged, and it was very authentic and very real, and there was an edge of desperateness to it because we were taught that we were all alone, that it was just us against the world, that the outside world was out to get us, that it was bad, that it was selfish. So we really clung to each other, but at the same time, we were taught that everybody outside of our group was bad and evil.
That's how you isolate people. So scary. Something that separates Children of God from other cults, Christina, is this concept of flirty fishing. Can you explain to our DBL Nation what that is? How did that shape your views?
So the Children of God started out as a very puritanical, very traditional type of religion. They started out with no sex, no marriage, no holding hands or kissing. And as they isolated everybody, the founder started taking liberties and trying to control people. And one of the ways that he controlled people was through sex. And it got so far as for a time in the group, they were sending the women out to be prostitutes. And we were told they were prostitutes. We were told our mothers were prostitutes, and that's what women should do, bring men to God. It was really for financial reasons, and it was a way to get money Now, us children, it was very normalized. So for me, watching the adult women get dressed up and put perfume on and makeup on, which was absolutely forbidden in the group, it almost looked glamorous to me. It looked like, maybe if I didn't die as a martyr and I was able to make it to adulthood, maybe I could put some makeup on and be glamorous as well.
Well, now, Joaquin Phoenix and Rose McGowan grew up in this cult. Why doesn't this surprise you?
So we were taught as children, and we trained to be performers, to constantly have a smile on our face and to show the world how happy we were. We were taught to sell the invisible. So it doesn't surprise me that people from our group have gone on to be in the performance industry and be very good at it, because as children, we were very good at it.
Two of your abusers, and I say that loudly, abusers, now run the cult under a different name. How is that possible? What's going on there?
So our group was extremely secretive. We weren't taught the legal names of anybody. We constantly were trafficked and moved from place to place. So it's very hard to locate where we were, when what happened, who was there, what their name was. They did a lot of shell things where they had somebody else own or rent the property. It's just they're good at hiding. I don't think they're too good. I think the authorities, if they wanted to find them, they could. We know Karen Zerbe is still out there. That is her legal name. We know that Sarah Kelly, who was responsible for me being incarcerated in the Philippines in a prison camp made by the cult, she was there. She's still roaming free. So we could get them, but it's also, I think it's difficult to know how are we going to prosecute them. We don't have photographic evidence. We don't have, our passports were burned.
Wow, they were careful.
So it's very complicated.
Listen, as a parent, I'm just infuriated. And I know that becoming a mom was a very big part of your recovery. Can you talk about that?
So first of all, we think of the Children of God as 10,000 members who are all abusive pedophiles, and that wasn't the case. Most of our parents, most of the people in the cult, even the first generation, they were also abused. They were also trapped in a destructive group, and they were forced to do things against their will. So I'm really proud of the adults who have gotten out, and I'm really rooting for them in their recovery. As to me personally, being a mom and having children was one of the best things that could have happened to me, because I didn't have a childhood. So for me to bake chocolate chip cookies with my children, or go to the park with them, or read books. I remember reading my first books with my children. And so I've been able to kind of have a childhood vicariously through them.
As a survivor, what are some of the things that you want people to take away from your story?
Cults have been part of our history since the beginning of time. They're not going to go away. The best thing we can do is educate ourselves.
We really appreciate you taking the time to share your story with us. And again, you're definitely a very special person. We appreciate you. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
It should go without saying, don't do this. But if there's a way to get out of class, students are going to find it. And it looks like kids in England found a way to fake a positive COVID test. Now, our research says it's true, but there are easy ways for teachers and parents to spot it.
Dozens of videos just like this have popped up on TikTok. The creator gets a COVID rapid test, dips it in soda, and boom, fakes a positive COVID test result. Hey, that's at least 10 days he gets off from school. So is this real? Let's verify. Our sources are the COVID test company LabCorp and Dr. Mark Lorch, a chemist and testing expert from the University of Hull in England. According to LabCorp, this faking of a COVID test can't be done to a PCR test. Those are the tests that take a couple of days to get a result. But the rapid tests...
If you drop some cola or orange juice or other actually acidic beverages onto the lateral flow tests, you get what looks like a positive result.
Dr. Lorch says it's not because the beverage has COVID in it. The acid basically breaks the test, which makes the result look like a positive result.
You can spot a fake positive because if you let the device dry out a little bit and then add the buffer solution that you get with the test back to it, it washes away the fake positive line.
Which brings us to how can parents and teachers prevent this from happening?
Yeah, it's very simple. Watch the kids when they're doing it, okay?
So we can verify, yes, soda or juice can give a false positive on a rapid COVID test, but not a PCR test.
Now, TikTok has been taking these down as they come up, but new stories just like that one keep popping up every day. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. You're part of the show. Bullying, we got Daniel Page says, if you teach your children about self-love, self-confidence, that will help them get over bullying.
That only goes so far.
Oh, interesting. Very true. And then masks at school, Gabrielle Garcia says, masks are like seatbelts. And if you didn't know, when Volvo introduced the 3-point seatbelts, people were really upset about having to wear seatbelts until it became normalized, which is interesting.
So I love Volvos.
No, Valvos.
The worst. DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time.
Volvo.
I said Volvo.
You said Valvo.
All right. Bye.